Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Good to be here.
So today, wow, we're tackling a heavyweight, Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities.
Absolutely. And it's a story that just throws you right in, doesn't it? That famous opening about 1775.
It really does. The contrasts are immediate. You've got England focused on, well, almost trivial things in comparison, like the Cock Lane ghost.
Right, or the ever-present fear of highwaymen on the roads. But Dickens makes it clear there are much bigger undercurrents, things brewing across the Atlantic.
Those messages from America
Yeah.
signaling, a revolution.
Exactly. But even quieter and maybe more terrifying is what he shows happening in France. That's silent preparation.
Ah, the woodman and the farmer imagery. It's unforgettable.
It really is. Fate, the woodmen already in the forests marking trees. You slowly realize what for?
That movable framework with a sack and a knife, the guillotine, chilling.
Utterly chilling. While everyone's caught up in daily life, history is literally carving out the tools for the terror.
And the farmer, death, putting aside those carts.
Those muddy, ordinary carts, yeah. Knowing they'll become the tumbrils, carrying people to their deaths. The whole book just hinges on this quiet, inevitable doom being set up while people are looking the other way.
So our mission in this deep dive is to track the main players, Dr. Manette, Lucy, Charles Darnay, Sidney Carton, as they get swept up in all this.
We'll map out the plot, dig into who these characters really are, and look at the big themes Dickens is weaving through London and Paris.
Right. We're aiming to give you that shortcut to understanding the complex web of love, sacrifice, and, well, terror that defines this novel. Let's dive in.
Okay, so book the first kicks off late November 1775. We're on the Dover Road, Shooter's Hill. And travel, it's not relaxing. It's thick with suspicion.
Dickens paints such a vivid picture, doesn't he? Everyone wrapped to the cheekbones, suspicious of everyone else.
Totally. Innkeepers, stable hands. Anyone could be working for the captain, the highwayman. It's muddy, dark, tense.
And into this lovely atmosphere comes Mr. Jarvis Lorry from Tellson's Bank, a man of business.
Very much so. He insists on it. He sees himself as an extension of the bank, not really a person with feelings.
He literally calls himself a speaking machine.
Yeah, it's his defense mechanism, against the messiness of human life. He's all about business, propriety. He gets jumpy just when the horses shake their heads. He needs control.
But that control gets tested almost immediately. This messenger, Jerry, gallops up out of the mist.
Right. And this is really the first key event. The message itself is short, cryptic. Laurie reads it. Wait at Dover for Mamselle.
But the answer he shouts back, that's the hook. Recalled to life.
Exactly. And that phrase just echoes through the entire story. We also get a little hint about Jerry, the messenger, right away.
Oh, yeah.
He mutters to himself about it being a blazing, strange message, and then adds something about recalling to life coming into fashion. It's a tiny bit of foreshadowing about his other job.
Connecting to bodies later on. Clever.
Very. So this message, recalled to life, it starts chipping away at Laurie's business-only facade almost instantly. He can't sleep.
He spends the night digging, as Dickens puts it, trying to unearth this buried person in his mind.
Yeah, the specter. It's a man, 45, but with prematurely white hair, wasted, worn. A ghost, really.
Yeah.
And the ghost keeps asking, buried how long?
Almost 18 years.
Yeah.
That's the answer, haunting Laurie.
It's the ghost of Dr. Manette, though Laurie doesn't know the full story yet. It's the mystery he's on his way to resolve.
So Laurie gets to Dover, to the Royal George Hotel, and he meets Lucy Manette.
Right. She's young, an orphan technically, raised under Tellson's protection, and crucially, she believes her French father, a doctor of Beauvais, died years ago.
She was deliberately kept from the agony of knowing the truth.
Exactly, and Laurie, well, he has to deliver this earth-shattering news, but he does it.
In that stiff banker way.
Precisely. He frames it as if he's discussing a customer of the bank, explains that her father wasn't dead, but was consigned to the oblivion of a prison for nearly 18 years.
Wow. Just lays it out there.
He does. The key revelation. Your father is alive, but he's been buried in a prison for almost 2 decades. Lucy, understandably, just collapses.
You can't blame her. So from Dover, the scene shifts drastically. We're plunged into Saint Antoine in Paris.
And what a contrast. This is the heart of poverty, misery, the place where the revolution is quietly festering. Dickens makes you feel it, the crippling stones, the mud, the stench, the weak lamps.
Feels dangerous, desperate.
It is, and this is where we meet the Defarges. Monsieur Defarge runs the wine shop. He's significant because he used to be Dr. Manette's servant. Loyal back then.
But it's Madame Defarge who really grabs your attention.
Absolutely. She's introduced just knitting, constantly knitting, nimble fingers and steady eyebrows, always watching, always silent.
She's the embodiment of fate, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And that knitting. It's not socks, is it?
No. It's revealed later she's knitting a register, a list of names.
The names of those the revolution will condemn. Chilling.
Deeply chilling. So the Defarges lead Laurie and Lucy up this horrible, dark, filthy staircase. The air is thick with dirt and poison to a garret room.
And there they find him, Dr. Manette.
Yes. The next pivotal moment, he's sitting on a low bench, bent over, just making shoes. White hair, vacant look, a hopeless and lost creature.
Completely lost in his prison identity, right?
Oh, yeah.
105, North Tower. The shoemaking was his coping.
Exactly. It's what kept his mind from completely shattering in the Bastille, but now it's like a cage he can't escape. He barely registers them at first.
Until Lucy approaches him.
That's the turning point. He looks at her, really looks, sees something familiar. Her face reminds him of his wife, and he murmurs that heartbreaking question.
Who is this? Was that you, eh? Linking her to his lost past.
It's the first flicker of recognition. Lucy knows instinctively they have to get him out of there, immediately.
Defarge agrees he's probably better off traveling than staying put. But Manette himself, he's still not fully present, is he?
Not at all. He's confused, slow. As they're getting ready to leave, Laurie asks him that crucial question, circling back to the original message. I hope you care to be recalled to life.
And his answer.
It's devastating. He just whispers, I can't say. He's been physically rescued, but mentally, emotionally, he's still buried. And that uncertainty really sets the stage for everything that follows. He's back, but is he really back?
Okay, fast forward 5 years. We're back in London, 1780. And the setting is Tellson's Bank again.
Right, by Temple Bar.
Yeah.
And Dickens gives it such personality. It's deliberately old-fashioned, small, dark, ugly, and proud of it.
Believing that being less objectionable would make it less respectable. It's funny, in a way.
It is. They actively resist any kind of modernization. They even boast about keeping young clerks locked away like a cheese until they get the Tellson flavor.
This stubbornness, this clinging to the past, it's such a stark contrast to the storm brewing in France.
Exactly. And outside this dusty institution, we find Jerry Cruncher again. The messenger, now the bank's odd job man, the honest tradesman.
But we get a look into his home life, which reveals he's not quite so straightforward.
No. We meet his wife, who he calls the aggrowaiter because she prays. He actually accuses her of praying against his prosperity.
Which strongly suggests his prosperity isn't exactly legitimate.
Precisely. And the truth comes out thanks to his son, young Jerry. He follows his dad one night on one of his late-night fishing trips.
Armed with a sack, crowbar, rope, and a great corkscrew.
Yeah. Young Jerry sees his father and 2 other men digging up a grave in St. Pancras churchyard, pulling out a coffin, a body.
So Jerry Cruncher is a grave robber, a resurrection man.
That's the term, stealing bodies to sell to surgeons and medical schools. It was a grim trade back then.
And the connection. The man who delivered the recall to life message is literally digging up the dead. It's a brilliant irony.
It really is. Dickens layers these things so carefully. Okay, so from Jerry's murky dealings, we shift to the Old Bailey, the treason trial of Charles Darnay.
A huge set piece. And the crowd. Dickens calls them ogreish.
Yeah, they're not there for justice. They're there for the spectacle. Hoping to see Darnay get the full, gruesome sentence for treason, hanging, drawing, and quartering. It shows a kind of bloodlust simmering even in England.
Darnay himself is calm, composed, but he's the focus of all this morbid curiosity. What's the actual charge?
He's accused of being a spy, basically, carrying secret lists and information between England and France for the French king. The key witnesses against him are John Barsad, presented as a true patriot.
And Roger Cly, his virtuous servant. Remember those names?
Definitely remember those names. Laurie and Lucy are called to testify, connecting back to that Dover mail coach trip 5 years earlier.
But they can't really identify Darnay definitively, can they? He was too dark, everyone was bundled up.
Right. Laurie just notes that Darnay didn't seem as scared of highwaymen as the others. It's not much. The prosecution seems to have a strong case.
Until the big twist. The key event of the trial.
The resemblance. The defense counsel Stryver, prompted by his colleague Sidney Carton, points out the astonishing likeness between the prisoner Darnay and Carton himself.
They look almost identical.
Exactly, and this suddenly throws huge doubt on the witness's identification. If these two men look so similar, could they be mistaken? The jury goes out and comes back with acquitted.
A dramatic turnaround.
Yeah.
And Jerry Cruncher, who's in the courtroom.
He mutters that line, connecting it all again. If you had sent the message, recalled to life, again, I should have known what you meant this time. Darnay is, in a way, recalled to life from the brink of execution, thanks to his double.
Let's talk about that double, Sidney Carton. He's fascinating. Looks like Darnay, but couldn't be more different in character.
Absolutely. Carton is brilliant, clearly intelligent, but utterly dissipated. Dickens calls him the idlest and most unpromising of men. He does all the hard legal work for Stryver.
He's the jackal to Stryver's lion.
Right. Stryver gets the glory, Carton gets drunk, he's drowning in cynicism and self-pity. He looks at Darnay, this man who looks just like him but is respectable, successful, loved, and he feels bitter.
He even tells Darnay his life has no good in it for me except wine. It's quite tragic.
It is. This resentment, this feeling of being Darnay's wasted shadow, fuels a lot of his early interactions. Okay, now we swing back across the channel to France.
And the contrast is jarring again. The sheer extravagance of the French aristocracy.
Dickens uses the example of the Monseigneur needing 4 servants just to serve his hot chocolate. It's almost cartoonish, but it drives home the detachment, the lack of reality these people live in.
They're completely oblivious to the suffering right outside their gilded doors.
Utterly. And then we meet the embodiment of aristocratic cruelty, the Marquis Saint-Evremond.
Darnay's uncle. And his introduction is brutal.
Horrifyingly so. The next key event, his carriage, speeding through Saint-Antoine, runs down and kills a child, right near Defarge's wine shop.
And his reaction, it's not grief, it's not remorse, it's annoyance.
Pure annoyance. He complains that the poor can't look after their children, throws a single gold coin to the grieving father, and calls the onlookers rats.
Just breathtaking arrogance. And Madame Defarge is there.
Watching, knitting, calmly with the steadfastness of fate. Someone throws the coin back into his carriage. It's a small act, but it says everything. Money won't cut it anymore.
So the Marquis continues on to his chateau, this stone fortress that Darnay later calls a wilderness of misery.
And his nephew, Charles Darnay, is waiting for him. Charles has come back specifically to renounce his title, his inheritance, his family name. He can't live with the guilt of what his family has done.
How does the Marquis take that?
Not well. He's dripping with sarcasm, completely dismissive of Darnay's morals. And then he drops that ominous hint, asks if Darnay knows a certain doctor living in England with a daughter.
He knows about the Minets. He's threatening Darnay indirectly.
Yeah. And he mutters to himself about maybe arranging for his nephew to burn in his bed. He's basically signing his own death warrant with that attitude.
Because retribution comes incredibly quickly.
Overnight. The next morning, the Marquis is found dead, stabbed in his bed, and there's a note pinned to him. This is the key event closing this section.
Drive him fast to his tomb. This from Jacques.
Jacques, the code name for the revolutionaries. And we learn the mender of roads saw someone, a figure like a specter, clinging underneath the Marquis' carriage as it left Paris. The revolution isn't waiting anymore. It's starting to strike back.
Right, back to London again. Another time jump. We're approaching 1789. Things seem calmer for the Minets.
For a while, yes, they've found a measure of peace. Lucy, Dickens calls her the golden thread, she's really held them all together, her father, Laurie, even Carton and Darnay in their own ways. Her love has been healing.
And Dr. Minette seems genuinely recovered.
He does. He's regained his strength, his purpose, he's stable. So, when Lucy marries Charles Darnay, Minette assures her it won't break their bond. It seems like a happy ending is possible.
But there's that secret Darnay has to reveal, his real name.
Evremond, he tells Minette on the morning of the wedding, as promised. And that name, it's the trigger. The shock is too much.
He relapses completely.
Yes. The next crucial event. For 9 days, Minette locks himself away. He reverts entirely to the shoemaker of the Bastille, 105 North Tower, making a lady's walking shoe, muttering it should have been finished long ago. The old trauma just floods back.
It's heartbreaking. How do they handle it?
Mr. Laurie steps up, showing how much he's changed from that speaking machine. Once Minette slowly comes out of it, Laurie doesn't confront him directly. He talks about it metaphorically.
Discussing a curious case involving a friend's relapse?
Exactly. Very delicately, they discuss the trigger, that strong and extraordinary revival of old, painful memories. And they make a pact, Laurie and the doctor, though it's unspoken.
Get rid of the shoemaking tools.
Yes. While Minette is away, Laurie and Miss Pross destroy the bench and tools. It's a crucial act, removing the physical anchor to his prison identity, trying to prevent another retreat like that.
Around this time, before the wedding actually, Carton has a significant moment too.
He does. He goes to Lucy and confesses his feelings. But more than that, he confesses his own sense of worthlessness, his wasted life. He knows she can't love him back and says he wouldn't deserve it anyway.
Right. But the key thing is the promise he makes. He asks her to remember him, this confession. And he vows that even though he's beyond saving himself, he would do anything, sacrifice anything, for her or for those she loves.
That's the setup for his final act, isn't it? The foreshadowing is powerful.
Absolutely. Lucy, seeing the deep wounds in him, asks Darnay to always be kind to Carton. Okay, so family life resumes, but the world outside isn't stable. July 1789 arrives.
The storm breaks. The French Revolution begins.
The storming of the Bastille. Dickens describes the chaos, the fury of the crowd, and Madame Defarge is right there in the thick of it, armed, a steady figure amidst the violence.
And Defarge himself, he has a specific mission inside the Bastille, doesn't he?
Yes, he makes his way straight to the North Tower to cell 105, Manette's old cell.
And he finds it, the hidden document.
Manette's journal, hidden in the chimney. This is probably the single most critical plot discovery. That paper holds the power to destroy Darnay. While Paris explodes, what's happening out at the Marquis' chateau?
It goes up in flames, burned to the ground by revolutionaries, the Jock, led by the mender of roads, and the local agent Gabelle, who was loyal to Darnay. He gets arrested, imprisoned.
Which leads us to 1792, 3 years later. Gabelle manages to get a letter out.
A desperate plea to Darnay back in London, begging him to come to France, to use his influence, ironically, to save Gabelle's life and clear his name.
And Darnay, he feels obligated, despite the danger.
He feels bound by honor. He can't ignore the plea of a faithful servant imprisoned because of his family connection. Dickens calls France a lodestone rock, a magnetic force pulling Darnay towards danger, towards his fate. He decides he must go.
A terrible decision in hindsight.
Immediately disastrous. As soon as he reaches the barrier into Paris, he's stopped, denounced, not as Charles Darnay, but as an emigrant aristocrat. Evermond.
And Defarge is there, now an official of the revolution.
Yes. And he offers no help. Coldly states his duty is to my country and the people. Darnay is arrested and thrown into La Force prison. His birth name, the one he tried to escape, has become his crime.
So Lucy and Dr. Manette rush to Paris after him, little Lucy too. They find Laurie at the Tellson's branch there.
And the scene outside the bank is horrifying. There's a grindstone set up. Men are sharpening bloody axes and swords. It's the time of the September massacres. Utter chaos and bloodshed.
But Dr. Manette discovers he has unexpected power here.
His status as a former Bastille prisoner makes him almost untouchable. A hero to the revolutionaries. He has a charmed life, he realizes. Patriots embrace him. They won't harm him.
So he uses this newfound authority.
Immediately. He goes to the tribunal at La Force, asserts his identity. Defarge is there, on the tribunal now. He confirms who Manette is. And they grant Darnay a kind of temporary reprieve, safe custody for the doctor's sake. Not freedom, but protection from the massacres.
Manette then spends months working tirelessly to get Darnay actually freed.
Yes, using his influence. Meanwhile, poor Lucy waits day after day near the prison, just hoping for a glimpse of Charles. And there's that creepy wood sawyer nearby.
Oof. Yes. He calls his saw his little sand guillotine and mimics executions, a constant grim reminder of the ever-present threat.
It's psychological torture. Eventually, Manette succeeds. At a formal trial, his testimony about his own suffering and Darnay's good character gets Darnay acquitted. Huge relief.
But it lasts.
How long?
Mere hours. As Darnay walks free, embracing Lucy, he's arrested again, on the spot.
Denounced again. By who this time?
By Citizen and Citizeness Defarge, and by one other. That ominous third name hangs in the air, the final trial, and the atmosphere is heavy with doom. The Defarges are right there on the front row, pointedly ignoring Darnay, watching the jury. Dr. Manette is present, confident his influence will work again.
But then Defarge takes the stand.
Yes, as a patriot hero who stormed the Bastille, and he produces the document he found, the paper from cell 105 North Tower.
Dr. Manette's own journal. Exactly. The one other denouncer is, tragically, Manette himself. Through his own words, written years ago in agony, the journal is read aloud to the court.
And the contents are devastating. It details the original crime that led to Manette's imprisonment.
The crime of the Evermond brothers, the late Marquis, and crucially, Darnay's father. Manette was called to treat a dying peasant girl ravaged by them, and her brother fatally stabbed by them after trying to defend her honor and avenge their father who they'd worked to death.
The sheer cruelty, the abuse of power, what we later understand is droit du seigneur, perhaps, or just pure brutality.
Pure brutality. The dying brother revealed the whole story. Manette, horrified, tried to report it to the authorities, writing to a minister.
But the Evermonds intercepted it.
Yes. The Marquis found Manette's letter, burned it in front of him, and had him thrown into the Bastille using a lettre de cachet, that secret royal warrant, to silence him forever.
And the journal ends.
With Manette, in his despair and rage, calling down eternal doom upon the entire Evermond family, root and branch.
Which, under the new laws of the Revolution, condemning entire families for the crimes of ancestors, condemns Darnay.
Precisely. Manette's own words become the irrefutable evidence that sends his son-in-law to the guillotine. The doctor is absolutely shattered.
He collapses again.
Completely. A final, total relapse. Back to the shoemaking bench, incoherent, tearing his hair. All hope seems lost. Darnay is condemned.
But this is where Sidney Carton steps in, remembering his promise to Lucy.
Yes. His moment arrives. He overhears talk in a wine shop and realizes the spy, Jean Barsad, is still in Paris. The same Barsad who testified against Darnay years ago, and who also happens to be
Miss Prost's long-lost brother, Solomon Prost.
the very same. Carton corners Barsad, and he plays his cards brilliantly. He knows Barsad is secretly working for the English government. He threatens to denounce Barsad to the Revolutionary Tribunal.
Which would mean immediate execution for Barsad.
Guaranteed. Carton has him trapped. And he gets extra leverage thanks to Jerry Cruncher, who Laurie brought over for safety.
Jerry the Resurrection Man, what does he know?
Carton brings Jerry in. Jerry confirms that Roger Cly, Barsad's partner in spying and perjury, didn't really die back in London. His coffin was just full of stones and dirt. He faked his death.
So Barsad's whole story is built on lies, and he's vulnerable.
Totally exposed. Carton holds all the cards. He uses this power not for himself, but to force Barsad to help him. He demands access to Darnay's cell in the conciergerie prison, just once.
He's planning the switch.
It's the losing game, as he calls it, but he's determined. He goes into Darnay's cell the night before the execution. He drugs Darnay, making him write a final letter to Lucy.
Then they swap clothes.
Yes. Barsad has to help carry the unconscious Darnay out, disguised as Carton. Carton stays behind, now appearing as Darnay, ready for the tumbril.
Meanwhile, Laurie is waiting with the carriage, following Carton's precise instructions.
To the letter. Darnay, still in a stupor, is delivered to him. Laurie bundles Darnay, Lucy, little Lucy, and the still relapsed Dr. Manette into the carriage, and they make their desperate race out of Paris, using Manette's papers for passage.
But they're not quite safe yet. There's Madame Defarge.
She's relentless. She learns Darnay is supposed to be dead, but wants to ensure the entire Evermond line is wiped out. That means Lucy and her child, too. She plans to denounce them for mourning an enemy of the Republic. She doesn't even trust her husband anymore, thinks he's gone soft.
So she goes to their lodgings.
But finds only Miss Pross. Lucy and the others have already left for the carriage. Miss Pross has stayed behind to delay anyone who follows.
The final confrontation. Two incredibly determined women.
It's amazing. They can't understand each other's language, but they understand the stakes perfectly. Miss Pross, fiercely protective of her ladybird, physically blocks Madame Defarge. They struggle violently.
And Miss Pross wins.
She does. In the struggle, Madame Defarge's own pistol goes off, killing her. Miss Pross, though deafened by the shot, has saved the family. She prevents the denunciation and buys them the time they need to escape France.
And back in Paris, Carton is on his way to the guillotine.
In the tumbril, disguised as Darnay, he meets a young seamstress, also condemned unjustly.
A very poignant scene.
It is. She recognizes him not as Darnay, but as someone noble making a sacrifice. "I think you were sent to me by heaven," she says. Carton comforts her, telling her where they are going. There is no time there, and no trouble there.
And his final thoughts. They're incredibly powerful.
As he stands at the scaffold, he internally recites the biblical passage, "I is the resurrection and the life." He envisions the future, sees the revolutionaries who condemned him eventually falling to the same terror. He sees Paris and France rising again, a beautiful city and a brilliant people rising from this abyss.
He sees Lucy and Charles living happily, naming their son after him. His sacrifice wasn't in vain.
No, it's the ultimate recalled to life. not just for Darnay, but for the whole family's future. His wasted life finds profound meaning in its final moments. It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go to than I have ever known. Hashtag outro.
Wow. Just recounting it all like that really drives home the scale and the emotional power of this story.
It's immense. So the key takeaways we've pulled out. Obviously, the theme of sacrifice, embodied so perfectly by Carton. His act literally gives life back to Darnay and his family.
And the flip side, the terrible danger of unchecked generational hatred, which we see driving Madame Defarge to her own destruction.
Absolutely. And threading through it all is Lucy's love, that golden thread, which inspires loyalty, protection, and ultimately redemption, even for someone as lost as Carton.
That theme of being recalled to life,
Yeah.
it really costs everyone something, doesn't it? Manette is recalled, but his past nearly destroys his daughter's happiness. Darnay is recalled from death twice, but the second time requires Carton's life.
Exactly. Carton's sacrifice becomes the truest, most complete form of being recalled to life. It breaks the cycle of vengeance and allows love and family to survive the terror. It redeems not just himself, but secures a future for everyone Lucy loves.
So let's end by thinking back to those opening images. The woodman, fate; the farmer, death, silently preparing the tools of revolution while society was distracted.
Dickens shows us that history, or destiny, often works quietly in the background. The roots of the terror were there long before the Bastille fell, sown in the cruelty of people like the Marquis. The consequences were inevitable, even if unforeseen by most.
Which leaves us with a thought for you, the listener. Thinking about our own time, what silent preparations might be underway right now, what forces, what shifts in justice, in society, and technology are quietly shaping our future, perhaps unnoticed, while we focus on the daily noise. Something to ponder.